Hello everyone. This is probably the final video of this phase of making a pick. What I've done is I've trimmed a little bit of the excess that I had around here when I did the heat shrink, because I needed enough of a shaft up there. And in this case, this one had quite a few gouges. So you can cut off a piece of, what I actually started with was a piece of 400 grit sandpaper cloth, because the gouges were so bad in this, and I went ahead and went back and forth like this on it with the cloth, and got quite a few of them. I was trying to also round off the edges. You want to bevel the edges over here on the sides a little bit, and this is where a bench vise comes in handy when you go to bevel your edges, because you just put a little piece right here. This one happens to be 1000 grit. The idea behind this is, if you're trying to go for a super, like a mirror smooth polish and everything, let me get this out of here. Change the angle on the camera. Take my improvised camera stand thing down. Alright, there's a big lighter there that doesn't need to be in there. So I'm going to have a link on there to quite a few people that have inspired me in this, but for polishing picks and everything, Kerpiche is excellent on how to polish picks. There's a lot of other people that go through a very good and thorough method of sanding and polishing your picks, but basically one of the things you do is you get like a book, and this is to protect your hands, because you're going to be going in and out like this. You may think that you can do this right here, right? Everybody thinks they can do this without getting stuck or without getting jabbed, okay? I can guarantee you that it's going to get you one day. Now, see, I'm doing it right now, and it's all right, but a better method is to take a book, preferably one that you don't give a shit about or you've already read, and you put your sandpaper in there, and you can have different layers of sandpaper. Now you can start off with, like, the lower the number, the higher the grit, and the higher the grit, the more, the bigger the chunks, the rougher it's going to be. So you can start off with, like, say 800 grit. It's not too bad, and it takes off quite a bit, or even 400. You can go down to 400 or 800, but then when you want to start getting to a polished finish and everything, you want to move up to like 1000, 1500. There's 2000 and 2500. You can go all the way up to all those different ones, and if you put them in different layers, in different sections of the book, this one I wrote on there was 1000. You can have different ones. I've got 1500 somewhere. This one is another 1000. Also wet dry sandpaper. This is wet dry sandpaper. If you want your sandpaper to last longer, you soak it in water with maybe just a little bit of hand soap or dish soap in there, just a little bit to help slur it around, and you soak it for like 24 hours or overnight, to get it really wet. And the advantage of that is it'll remove the, you can see my fingers are dirty from that, remove the particles as you're sanding, and your sandpaper actually lasts longer. I never get around to doing that. If you're a bachelor like I am, you'll probably get away with it better. And if you're married, you'll probably get in trouble for doing it in the kitchen sink or messing up the table or whatever. In this case, you can see those gouges in there. I probably induced that in part of the cutting process. I had a round, like I said, a Dremel instead of a bench vise, and I think I came forward and it went like that, and it did a pretty good gouge. You can kind of feel it a little bit. I've improved this by sanding. Like I said, I'm not exactly doing it the correct way that I demonstrated, but anyways, this thing is almost completely finished, and You can test it by feel. My Bogota points are very pointy, and the bottom slope is fairly slopey, but this end right here is still very sharp, which may give me a problem. I don't know, but one of the last things you want to do after you've done all your polishing and everything else is to again test it in locks, just to make sure that it's still alright, and it's probably going to be a lot better. It probably won't hang up as much as the other one, because like I said, you can break a pick that you've just made just because it's snagging a lot more when it's rough like that. This is something you can do while you're just sitting down watching television or whatever, or something that, you know, your eyes are occupied, but your mind, you know, doesn't have to be occupied on what you're doing, and you're just basically, this takes quite a while. I mean, if you want to get a mirror polish on it, it takes quite a while. You don't need a mirror polish. Basically, this right now, even though it looks pretty bad, is pretty smooth. I mean, when I run my hands on it, it's pretty smooth. And I just go along the top too, just to get a feel with my hands. And this feels pretty good for an improvised pick. It's not bad, you know. I mean, if I'd have broken a Bogota, you can see that long gouge there. It kind of looks kind of bad, but like I said, it's think about this when you see a gouge, all right? How deep did it go? If it went, for you to get that gouge out and to make it all the surface smooth, you're going to have to at least go to the depth of the gouge, you know, and that may be a thousandth or two down there. So you're basically going to thin your pick out for what? You know, just for appearances, because really, when I'm going into a lock, this shouldn't really be scraping the side too much, although it may be, and there's sometimes when you have to get up into warding and stuff like that and run your Bogota up there. But I believe for my purposes, since it opened up most of those, and of course I am dealing with master locks, you know, I'm not dealing with a lot of high security locks, and master locks are notorious for opening for almost anything. But it has opened other locks too. I mean, it did a Schlage, and it's done Brinks, and it works out fairly well against quite a few locks. So there you go. I don't think I'm gonna do any more to this other than just continue to sand it with different grades of sandpaper. But like I said, I've got a pretty good gouge in there on one side, and just remember what you're dealing with. This is all the lock is going to see, is this right here. If you wanted to fix this down here, that's just for aesthetics, you know. I mean, and who really cares? Unless you're, you know, selling it or something. And well, these are just made for myself. So there you go. I hope everybody's found this informative, and like I said, I'll at the bottom of this, I put this up on uklocksports.co.uk, I think is the correct URL, but they're a very good site, and very helpful for novices and pickers, and a lot of your YouTube greats have come from there, you know. So I would recommend going to that site, and anytime you have any problems, they're very helpful. They have very simple rules and regulations, which everyone reads, and then you can meet a lot of people like Lock Noob over there. He's over there, and there's a lot of other very good people there that will help you out in your adventures in picking. So I hope everyone enjoyed this, and I will try to do some more videos later on, but I have see, my hands are healing. I'm working with fiberglass now, so I'm really getting gouged up a lot, and it's very hard for me to do stuff with my hands, but I'm getting back into it anyways. So anyways, there you go. There's your how to make a pick thing. I hope everybody enjoyed this. And by all means, go out and experiment. Make your own shapes. And try different things. It's always good to have a store-bought thing if you can afford it. But if you can't, windshield wiper blades and zip ties are everywhere. Heat shrink's not too expensive. It's mostly just working with your hands. And then you've got something to show for it. I mean, in this case, it's not as visually as appealing as it could be, you know, but hey, I don't really care about aesthetics that much on picks, really. I mean, it's nice when you get a really nice handle and everything. It was really good, but in this case, I was just going for function. So there you go. Hope everybody's having a good time, and I will talk to you later.